When our kids were grown, we were hit with a strong desire to see the world.
And so we decided to document our journeys to help other first-time travelers.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Terry.
And we're
Escaping the Empty Nest.
So one of the things we wanted to do while we were on this cruise was see the Uxmal ruins on our trip to Progreso. Most people go to the
Chichen Itza.
ruins. They're more well known, but from our research, it looked like the Uxmal offered us more. So we booked it well ahead of time, and they delivered the tickets to our cabin 2 days before our excursion. And when it was time to go ashore for our Progreso stop, that's when the fun started.
That is when the fun started. So we got off the ship and we walked over to the area where we could see that the excursions were numbered by what they are. So number one might be this particular one. Well, we were looking and couldn't find ours at all. We looked around at all of the different numbers. Finally, somebody stopped and said, well, can I help you what you're looking for? And when we told them we were looking for the Uxmal ruins tour, they said, oh, that should be in area number 3 on the other side of the fence
So
there.
back, yeah.
So we went back and we stood by number 3, but it didn't say anything about the ruins trip we were supposed to take.
Yeah. So we asked somebody, and finally they checked on it for us, and they says, oh, that's been canceled. It's like, what? Canceled? They didn't even let us know. So we scrambled, and I asked about the Chichen Itza tour, and they said there was still room on that tour, so we got on that one instead. So it was disappointing that A, there wasn't enough people to take the tour, and B, they didn't even let us know, because if they had let us know ahead of time, we could have done research and figured out something else, not just scrambled on the first thing that was available. There were reasons why we booked the Uxmal tour instead of Chichen Itza, several reasons in fact. From reading reviews, we heard it was a nicer tour, it was a nicer place to visit. And the person we talked to on the port, we mentioned we wanted to go to Uxmal. He said, oh, that's very nice. That's nicer than Chichen Itza. And our tour guide said the same thing. So it is someplace we hope to go to in the future.
Yeah, and part of the reason why we wanted to do that one instead of Chichen Itza was not only was the travel time to Uxmal shorter, where we would have had more time at the ruins, there were so many vendors back to back to back to back. You couldn't walk. When we walked the 300 yards to the cenotes, all the way there
Both
and
sides.
all the way back, both sides, back to back to back to back for 300 yards, were just booths of people trying to sell their wares,
just harassing you, and it was not fun.
You know, this is $1. This is $1 or whatever,
almost free,
or almost free. We heard that a lot. We also heard cheaper than Walmart.
Yeah.
So, but they were. I wouldn't say all of them were very pushy, but you could tell that they really wanted you to stop and look at their wares and try to buy something from them.
The first dozen doesn't bother you. It got a little bit tiring just to walk by every booth and get the same hard sales pitch from every single person. It's just like, stop it already. We're on a tour. We can't stop.
Right. And the other thing was the difference between it is if we had got to go to Uxmal, we would have got to climb up some of the ruins and get footage, everything down from there, where you cannot do that at all at Chichen Itza. Everything is blocked off. You can get your pictures like right in front of it, but you can't go up on anything there. And that was one of the things we looked forward to doing, was to getting some footage and some shots from there, from up high, from up above the ruins to see around. And it would have been a much quieter place. They don't allow the people on the campus,
vendors,
the area there, not the campus, the area that would be selling all that stuff. We found out that the people at Chichen Itza were kind of grandfathered into that.
What happened with these guys here is that they belong to town. So way before the government took control of the place, they were here.
Grandfathered in.
So they made it first. So when the government came to enclosure the area and get a tickets office, they were here and they couldn't do anything to get them out.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why. Now there is a list on the vendors that they were here at the beginning, and if you are like new, you are not allowed to be in. So these guys are like the descendants of the family that they were here at the beginning.
We learned a lot about Chichen Itza. It was an interesting tour. It's an interesting artifact. It is one of the 7 wonders of the world. It is a protected zone. One thing I thought was interesting, it's so protected that there's this agreement with the United Nations that if there's ever a war, that's a protected area that by law you're not allowed to target that area. I don't know why anybody would target it anyway. But it's actually a protected historical area, which is pretty interesting, in addition to being named one of the 7 wonders of the world. So it wasn't that it was bad, it was just very touristy. From Progreso, it took a long time to get to. As tall as I am, the buses were extremely cramped. After 5 hours on the bus, there and back, my legs were hurting pretty bad from just being at a weird angle in the bus. They did stop, and we did get to do a box lunch before we went in. So it wasn't that it was a bad tour, it's just not the one that we were looking forward to. And we did our research ahead of time and decided that Uxmal was the one we really wanted to see. So anyway, we hope you've enjoyed the footage, and hope you get to see Chichen Itza or Uxmal or whatever you want to see when you're in Progreso. Actually, you can see Chichen Itza from Cozumel too.
Right.
There's excursions from Cozumel. It's basically in the middle between them. You can see it from either one, but it's a long way from each one. So make sure you give yourself plenty of time. That's one of those destinations that we booked through Carnival just to be sure that if we were late coming back because of mechanical reasons or whatever,
The ship wouldn't leave
the
us.
ship wouldn't leave without us. It's not something I would do in a private tour. So, but it worked out. We got by 5 o'clock, and the ship call time was 5:30. So we were good. So anyway, thanks for watching, and
Bye
bye
for
for
now.
now.